Amina Hussein, good evening. Alaikum salam. I'll have to wait until I have enough people so I can start my live. Viva Palestina, good evening. Good evening, Kay. How are you, my friends? Hope you are doing well. It's been a long time. Am I here, by the way? Am I here? Donna, good evening. How are you? Robert, good evening. Yeah, it's been too hot, Kay. It's been too hot, even here. It's boiling. I have never witnessed such heat. Hello, Karen. Good evening. Can you hear me, guys? Monique, good evening. Okay, still alive. Donna, thanks for asking. Okay, that's good. Jonah, hello. Paula, hello, Paula. How are you? Janie, thanks. Okay, that's good. Okay, go. Okay, cool. Hope you all are doing well. So, okay, then I think I can start. I have certain topics I would like to talk about. Hello, Beruz. And the topics I have posted already on my Facebook. I want to talk about the role of Al Jazeera, the role of Qatar, and the role of Muslim Brotherhood. But before going there, ماري يسعد مساك الكل حكى لي الصوت واضح. Before going there, or before starting talking about my topics, I would love to talk briefly about the situation here in Palestine, both in Gaza and the West Bank. So in Gaza, you are all following what's happening there. It's a bloodbath. It's a Holocaust. Literally, it's a Holocaust. More than 20,000 Palestinian children were slaughtered, a part of women, adults, and others, plus those under the rubble. I would say the declared number is about 40,000 of people slaughtered, but I think the real number exceeds much this number. It could reach 80 or 90,000, including those who are still under the rubble and those who were killed I don't know where. So it's a huge number. And all these numbers will be covered soon, I think, someday soon. So they were targeting mainly Palestinian citizens, Palestinian facilities, Palestinian infrastructure, Palestinian parks, Palestinian homes. All the pressure was on Palestinian citizens in Gaza. All the pressure was on the citizens. All the destruction included only citizen areas or facilities serving Palestinian citizens. For example, 95% of Palestinian educational sector in Gaza was completely destroyed. Palestinian hospitals, Palestinian universities, Palestinian mosques, Palestinian churches, Palestinian streets, on the ground, under the ground, everything was totally blown up. And when they were talking about bringing Gaza to the Stone Age, it is brought to the Stone Age. Plus, as you know, as you follow on daily basis, there's a famine, there's a starvation in Gaza. It's been going for months. Food is not allowed in. No water, no electricity, no fuel, no nothing. And if they can stop the oxygen from flowing, thanks, it's God's thing. It's not under their control. Otherwise, they will stop air from flowing to Gaza. So this is the way it is. And what's outrageous about it? Everything is going live. And all the countries, including the United States, are calling to ceasefire, to immediately ceasefire. But none of these countries is really working to stop the Holocaust. Because if America desires to stop this Holocaust, in a second it will stop. All they have to do is to order it. But they are not. Europe, they have million ways to stop this Holocaust, but they have no interest. All they have to do is just to order it, but they are not. As for Arabs and Muslims, they are clinically dead. So I expect from them nothing, not even a political position. So I will not be talking about Arabs and Muslims. So it's a fucking situation that is live. The Holocaust is happening live. It's not hidden. Everyone sees everything every day. The murder or the slaughter of children is happening on daily basis. There is one Palestinian child is killed, is murdered every 10 minutes in Gaza. But who cares? The whole world is not able to force the occupation entity to enter the food. People are starving, and there are deaths on daily basis because of lack of food. People in Gaza ate everything, and literally everything. They have eaten grass, they have eaten trees, leaves, they have eaten cats, they have eaten dogs, they have eaten horses, they have eaten donkeys, they have eaten rotten food. This, what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Gaza, has never happened in the history of humanity. Never. It's a big shame. It's a big shame on humanity. It's a big shame. Of course, I cannot deny. Actually, I should applaud the people's awareness and participation in mass protests everywhere. And this is something we do as Palestinians, we do greatly appreciate. Unfortunately, their governments are not listening. Government, they don't see their masses in the streets. They don't consider their demands, unfortunately. But I think the more pressure you make, it will happen. It has to happen. There is no other way. As for the West Bank, Palestinian towns, villages, communities have turned into individual prisons that has gates and locks all around. Every single Palestinian village, city, community, you name it, it's 100% surrounded. 100%. So all they have to do is to lock the gate and no one can leave their town or village. We have become in individual prisons. We cannot use our roads. The roads are used only by colonizers and their army. Other than this, sometimes they allow us out to go to our jobs and everything. Sometimes they don't. So we are 100% controlled. We are living in ghettos. They imposed on us being living in ghettos. That's literally happening. A part of daily attacks, organized, daily and nightly attacks, organized attacks by terrorists, the occupation colonizers, who are always escorted by the soldiers or police. And they have the upper hand on soldiers and police. They order the soldiers. They order the police. Every fucking day, they steal a piece of land. And if you come close to your land, you will be shot. You will be shot by the colonizers, by the police, by the soldiers. This is literally happening here in the West Bank. Literally. So colonizers have the upper hand in the West Bank with the help of all their government organizations. All are ordered by the colonizers. Even Area A, it's raided every single night. Palestinians are being slaughtered in the West Bank every single day, every single night. Dangers are all around. There is no safety, no safe place, no nothing. And what they are doing in Gaza are slowly doing in the West Bank. For example, they have decreased the amount of water given to Palestinians in the West Bank. Decreased to 50%. So a lot of people are literally, they barely have water to drink. And believe it or not, but this is happening in the West Bank. They are practicing the maximum pressure on people in the West Bank to leave the West Bank. Soldiers' terrorism, police terrorism, colonizers' terrorism against people, poverty, you name it. Slaughtering people, imprisoning people. And when you go to prison, it's not just a prison. No, you will be exposed to extreme torture that you cannot even imagine. A lot of people were released from the prisons in the from West Bank, and they lost their minds because of the extreme torture they have been under. Every day there's someone killed inside the prisons because of extreme torture, brutal torture, barbaric torture. You cannot imagine it. So this is what's happening in the West Bank. And again, it's happening live. Reports are made on social media and on normal media on daily basis, and no one is doing anything about it. Even courts, international courts, are making decisions in this regard in our favor, but not one fucking decision is imposed. Not one. And the West, Europe, mainly Europe and America, they are blocking the International Criminal Court from going any further. They are blocking its ways. They are threatening the judges. They are threatening the lawyers. They are threatening. This injustice has never happened in history. To be attacked from all over the world, from the whole planet. And by saying attacked, the West is literally attacking us, including America, of course, because they are sending their weapons. They are funding the occupation. They are protecting the occupation, political-wise, military-wise, economic-wise, at all levels. While the rest of the world is either sleeping or just watching, doing nothing. So we are literally Palestinians versus the planet. It's not just the occupation entity. So this is, I don't know how to describe it. I have no words, frankly speaking. Now, with regard to the topics I have published, the topics of this live, it's about conspiracy. And it's not just claims. No, I don't claim. For example, everyone would think that Qatar is supporting Palestinian cause. But Qatar is playing a very dangerous role that's devastating. You all remember, before this war, Qatari money were given to Hamas in Gaza in suitcases through Ben Gurion airport on monthly basis to keep Palestinians divided. And they are ordered by the Americans and by the Zayos. Netanyahu asked for the Qatari money to be given to Gaza. I'm talking about before October 7th. And you think you have the right to think whatever you want after the statements I'm making. In Qatar, there is the biggest American military and intelligence bases outside America. The biggest American military and intelligence bases are outside America, not just in the Middle East. So Qatar actually is a colony. It's a colony. It's colonized by America. And it's not colonized because America came and colonized Qatar in the, traditional ways. No, Qatar has asked America to come and build these military bases on its land, and it is paying for it. Qatar is paying about and they declared it, $5 billion annually in exchange for inviting these military bases on its land. And from these bases, you have to know, from these bases, American warplanes have attacked Iraq. From these bases, American warplanes have attacked Afghanistan. From these bases, American warplanes have attacked Syria. From these bases, American warplanes have attacked Yemen. And from these bases, America have sent weapons to the occupation entity to attack Gaza. Gaza, the place that Qatar is crying about it or over it day and night, and saying, I'm talking as if they are the saviors of Gaza. But Qatar is sinking in the Palestinian blood, just like America. Qatar has a functional job, and it's employed by America to achieve American goals. For example, and they did not hide it, Qatar has funded all terrorist groups. Again, Qatar has funded all terrorist groups attacked Syria and Iraq and Yemen. Daesh was funded by Qatar. Nusra is funded by Qatar. Among all other groups, they have paid hundreds of billions of dollars to destroy Syria, to destroy Iraq, to destroy Libya, to destroy Yemen. Billions and billions of money have been paid by Qatar. Yes, Qatar. Now, Qatar has made a good investment following an American order. That investment is called Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera has been given a free hand to make reports worldwide, but mainly here in Palestine. That's why you see the very powerful coverage of Al Jazeera in Palestine. Why in Palestine is the most important? I'll tell you why. Because by covering the Palestinian situation and showing empathy and reality about what's happening in Palestine, this is the only way, because the Palestinian cause touches the heart of every Arab and Muslim. So how to make this channel trustworthy is by, for example, focusing on the Palestinian cause and showing the devastation of Palestinians and exposing the Zionist occupation entity. And by this, Al Jazeera will have a popularity and will be trustworthy, especially in the Arab and Muslim world. And therefore, will have the ability to influence and direct the Arab and Muslim public opinion. And this is exactly what they want. The public opinion. Influencing the public opinion, but in the wrong directions. For example, when the terrorist groups were attacking in Syria, Iraq, among other places, Al Jazeera was promoting these terrorist groups as revolutionary groups. Al Jazeera even built studios inside Qatar and showed battles that has never happened, but inside their own studios. For example, in Libya, they have shown, for example, built a studio in Qatar showing that the Libyan army, when Muammar Gaddafi was still alive, is defeated, let's say, in Tripoli and running away. But actually, this was inside the studios of Qatar, inside the studios of Al Jazeera built in Qatar to influence the public opinion in Libya. Even for Gaza, they have built studios outside in Qatar to show that this is happening in Palestine. So, and Qatar and Saab Arigat, if you are aware of this name, Saab Arigat, may his soul rest in peace and power. One day he was on Al Jazeera and he told them by names. He told them, you have a manager called this and that, and he was an ex-CIA officer. And you have this person whose name is so-and-so, who is a British intelligence officer. And you have this and that. And he said it on Al Jazeera Live. And they were attacking him. So that's why Al Jazeera have this huge margin to move in Palestine. And those reporters who are dead, Al Jazeera reported, they are Palestinians after all. And they are raising the stocks of Al Jazeera in the Arab world when they die. And Al Jazeera will have more popularity and will have more influence to spread whatever lies they want to spread, whether in Palestine or outside Palestine, in any Arab country. Because Al Jazeera role is to incite so-called revolutions inside Arab world. In other words, civil wars. And who is benefiting from such civil wars in Arab world? Americans and the occupation entity. The fall of Syria benefits only Zionist occupation entity and Qatar, because Qatar had a dream planned with Europe and America to construct gas pipelines from Qatar through Syria to Turkey and stop the Russian gas flowing to Europe. So they have an alternative to Russian gas. For example, that was a dream, but it was not achieved. Luckily. That's why they have supported all terrorist groups. And Iraq was a powerful country during the times of Saddam Hussein. And this country was self-sufficient. They did not need anyone. And they were rich. And they have a strong army. And this strong army was, for them, a threat to their power in the Middle East and a threat to the occupation entity. Therefore, they have devastated Iraq. And Iraq never rise up again. Same goes for Libya. Muammar Gaddafi was against the West. So they wanted to change Muammar Gaddafi. And Qatar and Al Jazeera has made great help. Great help. By funding terrorist groups, that's one. And Al Jazeera spreading its propaganda to destroy the national, let's say, unity from in within in Libya. And it was achieved. Same in Yemen, same in Iraq, same in Palestine. If you follow Al Jazeera reports, for example, Arabic reports, not English reports, because there's too much difference between Arabic reports and English reports. Arabic reports, they are inciting Palestinians against each other day and night. Day and night. And creating stories. For example, and this is not to say that you are a pro-PA or whatever. Of course I am pro-PA. PA is Palestinian government. They are not aliens. They are providing services for all the Palestinian public, including in Gaza. And they are sanctioned by the occupation entity and by the whole West, including America. During the past 5 years, they are under heavy financial sanctions. We have not received our full salaries for 4 years. We are receiving sometimes 50% of our salary. Sometimes we don't receive anything for 4 years. Because Europe and America and the occupation entity have dried financial resources of the PA. Why would they do that? You answer that. So for example, if someone who is a criminal, someone who has stole something or killed something in the Palestinian community, Al Jazeera will show this one and captured by the PA. Al Jazeera will immediately say that the PA security forces have arrested a resistance guy. They never say that he has killed someone in his town. They will never say that he steals people's homes. So whoever caught by the PA, immediately he's resistance. That's how Al Jazeera will show. And will make reports after reports after reports. And they will invite analysts, and they will invite, you cannot imagine. It's crazy what's happening here. So what Al Jazeera did in Syria, did in Iraq, the civil wars, they are inciting here in Palestine. Now, under these very critical circumstances. And who's benefiting from the fall of the PA or the fall or the civil war? Who will benefit from a Palestinian civil war? Other than Zionist occupation. So if we have the education system collapsed, and if we have the health sector collapsed, and if we have the social security sector is collapsed, and if we have the, who will help the people? Who's helping the people in Gaza now? Funding them. Now, as I'm talking. The occupation entity is stealing the whole amount of money sent to Gaza by the PA on a monthly basis. That's about $60 million. They cut it from the Palestinian tax money every month. Yet, the PA pays it. So it's paid twice. Not once, because 60 million are already confiscated by the occupation entity. But the PA insists anyways to pay it again to the people of Gaza to survive with the minimum. So these are realities people don't see about Al Jazeera. So when we have a civil war, who will benefit from the civil war? And Al Jazeera is fueling that on daily basis since 1994 until now. So they have been doing that for 30 years. But nowadays, after October 7, they have escalated it in a way that is unimaginable. They want us to kill each other, literally. That's Al Jazeera. That's Al Jazeera role that you don't see. You are not Arabs, you don't understand the Al Jazeera reports in Arabic. Because they don't have the same reports in English. Sometimes they allow a small topic in English. But the incitement in Arabic, in their studios, you cannot imagine it. So Al Jazeera is one of the biggest threats to the Palestinian cause. In Qatar, of course. Qatar has never paid a penny to help Palestinians through the PA. Not one penny. Since it has been established in 1948, in 1994 until now, until this very moment. Not one penny. All other Arab countries, they have paid, except Qatar. These are facts. They want us to kill each other. And they are insisting that we kill each other. Now, the relation between Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood. The international organization of the Muslim Brotherhood. The international movement of the Muslim Brotherhood. Because it's an international movement. It was established in Egypt back in 1927. And its first fund, it was £500 by the British intelligence at that time, when Egypt was still under the occupation of Britain. That was the first fund received by Muslim Brotherhood. So it was the toy of the British intelligence since then, since they have started. And because they call themselves Muslim Brotherhood, so, you know, they have connected themselves to religion. And this is something influential. You know, people, they are passionate, whether directly or indirectly, for their religion. So they have followers, a lot of followers. And this is the only way to influence politics. Let's say, for example, I'll give you examples. Here in Palestine. Before 1987, and I have witnessed that, before 1987, the Muslim Brotherhood was okay and licensed by the occupation entity. And they have never called until 1987. They have never called to resist the occupation. Never. Yet, at that time, before 1987, they were recruiting even Palestinians to go and fight in Afghanistan against Soviet Union at that time. Even Palestinians, Palestinian followers of the Muslim Brotherhood. They were recruited and sent to Afghanistan. And that was acceptable by it was okay by the occupation entity, as long as they are not working against them. So this is an example. But they needed some, when the first Intifada started, they needed to have some certain power, some certain of power in Palestine. So here when Hamas came, and Hamas is the military, it's called the military arm of the Muslim Brotherhood here in Palestine. That's what Hamas is. And before 1987, a Muslim Brotherhood here in Palestine, they have created something called Islamic work organization or something like that. And it was made by the leaders of Hamas now. And it had its license from the Zay occupation civil administration. And the license was given to by a Zay occupation officer called Abu Sabri. They give themselves Arab names, officers, intelligence officers. Until now, they give themselves Arabic names. That's why sometimes Palestinians, when they want to joke or talk about, they say they are the sons of Abu Sabri. So, top leaders of Muslim Brotherhood and hear that very well. Top leaders of Muslim Brotherhood, I mean first line of Muslim Brotherhood, they are living, staying in Britain, exclusively in Britain. That's number one leaders. And I don't think British governments are really so democratic and really care about Islam that much that they allow such a huge organization to be based in Britain until there is mutual interests. And second and third line of leadership, top leaders, they are either in France or America. And they have power in France, they have power in America, they have big power in Europe. And during the war between the Afghani and the Soviet Union, Americans have ordered the Muslim Brotherhood and the West intelligence to recruit people to fight from all over the Arab world, to fight in Afghanistan. And it did happen. Then America wanted to make, when they established Al-Qaeda, you know, Bin Laden was living in America. And he was trained in America. And Al-Qaeda started from America. But how to make a popularity or to make followers for Al-Qaeda? So here comes the Muslim Brotherhood role, because they have a huge popularity and they have a lot of people following them. So they have started to direct their followers to become subject of Al-Qaeda. So from the very womb of the Muslim Brotherhood was born Al-Qaeda. That's an American tool, West's tool, which has later become an enemy to them. Because usually they have created an enemy to fight. That's how things are happening. And when they wanted to destroy Syria, they have created something called Daesh. How to bring followers to Daesh? You will need something powerful to bring these followers. Again, they have used Muslim Brotherhood. So Muslim Brotherhood have employed people from its followers to be Daesh, to become Daesh. And then they fought against Daesh and showed the whole world that Islam is terrorism. Same goes for all other Muslimic terrorist groups. Islamic terrorist groups are all born from the womb of Muslim Brotherhood, but agreed upon by the West's intelligence, America, Britain, France, Germany, you name it, and the Muslim Brotherhood. So this is the functional job of the Muslim Brotherhood, but not Palestine. And here, a part of Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood until now, since October 7, until now, they have not made one statement, not one statement, calling for its followers to fight in Palestine. Not one. And I challenge anyone to show me otherwise. Not one statement. But they have made million statements for its followers to fight in Afghanistan, to fight in Syria, to fight in Iraq, to fight in Libya, and to fight in Yemen, and to fight in Egypt. All terrorist groups were in Sinai. They were Muslim Brotherhood groups, which become affiliated to Daesh, others affiliated to Bait al-Maqdis, others affiliated to I don't know what terrorist groups, and all were funded by Qatar. And all these terrorist groups, all were trained at the beginning in Turkey, because Erdogan is a Muslim Brotherhood. They consider him as the top leader of the Muslim Brotherhood. But he's a NATO at the same time. About 400,000 terrorists were trained in Turkey, of course funded by Qatar, supervised by the West's intelligence, and they were all sent to Syria first, then to Iraq, then to Libya, then to Yemen, and to Sinai in Egypt. And Al Jazeera was the main tool in Arabic to promote these terrorist groups as freedom fighters. And what was the goal? To destroy these countries. And this goal is achieved, except in Egypt. Egypt is a deep state. They are not born since yesterday, and they have devastated the Muslim Brotherhood and all its terrorist groups. These are facts. These are facts. Now, Muslim Brotherhood has become the investment of Qatar since 1994. So Qatar has started to greatly fund Muslim Brotherhood, and they created something called the Association of Muslim Clerics. The Association of Muslim Clerics. It's all Muslim Brotherhood. And their top leaders, they are based in Qatar. And through them, they make all the decisions that serve first American interests and their occupation interests. And that's why Al Jazeera have, now Al Jazeera in Arabic, most of their reporters, most of their employees inside Al Jazeera walls, 90% of them are Muslim Brotherhood affiliates. And some of them are extreme affiliates. And some of them, to add, there are warrants against them by their mother countries as terrorist individuals, being part of terrorist groups. And all that is patronized and sponsored by the Americans. Remember, the American base is in Qatar. That's why the occupation entity was not able to kill Haniya in Qatar, because Hamas leadership in Qatar are safe and well guarded by the Americans. The moment he left Qatar to Iran, he was killed. Because they have an agreement with Qatar. They cannot do that in Qatar. They will have a crisis with Qatar and Americans. And these are not jokes, these are facts. Top leaders of Hamas are based in Qatar. How come? I don't know. Don't ask me how come. But it is what it is. Top leadership of Hamas are in Qatar. So if America wants them and they are calling them terrorists, how come America is not arresting them? They are under their hands. They are in Qatar. You tell me. And to add, top leaders of Taliban were in Qatar when they were called terrorists by the Americans, and when the Americans were fighting them in Afghanistan. But Americans allowed Qatar to invite top leaders of Taliban to stay in Qatar. Top leaders of terrorist groups were fighting in Libya and Syria, who later escaped Syria and Libya. They are living in Qatar. Now, how come? Tell me. Because the Muslim Brotherhood is 100% controlled, directed, run by American and mainly American and British intelligence, but generally speaking, West's intelligence. So they give them the chance to do whatever they want in the West, generally speaking. But on the other hand, the Muslim Brotherhood has to serve their goals in the Middle East. And of course, the West does not want a powerful Middle East, of course. They want it cracked Middle East, weak Middle East, not influential Middle East, right? And Muslim Brotherhood would play that role to crack Arab world from inside using religion. In whose favor? The fall of who will benefit from the fall of our Arab countries? Not me, because their weakness is an extra weakness to me as a Palestinian. That's why Arabs have no influence on the international politics with regard to Palestine. They are not able to impose what they want because they are cracked from inside. And they have big threats in within. That's why. So this is about Qatar, this is about Al Jazeera, and this is about Muslim Brotherhood. This unique ties. Arab channels have never invited any Zayy occupation leader on their screens. Never. Al Jazeera was the first, which was opened, by the way, Al Jazeera was opened by Shimon Peres. He was the prime minister of the occupation entity then. It was opened by him. Since then, 1994, Arabs started to see Zayy occupation leaders on an Arab screen for the first time. It was Al Jazeera. So Arabs can normalize and get used to it and to hear the Zayy occupation story and narrative through Al Jazeera. And after that, other Arab, unfortunately, screens have started to invite the occupation leaders on its screen, or analysts, or experts, or whatever you call it, such as Al Arabiya. So this is Al Jazeera. Unfortunately, the reports about Gaza and the West Bank, when it has to do with the Zayy occupation entity, it's good reports, generally speaking. And this is part of the margin they are allowed to do by the Americans and by the West to gain more popularity and to have more influence on the Arab world when needed. For example, inciting for the so-called Arab Spring. Al Jazeera has played a major role that fucking spring. Major role. And huge funds were made by Qatar to devastate Arab countries from inside. Huge funds. While the Qatari money has never arrived to Palestinian pockets. Except for Hamas. How come Netanyahu himself and America itself allow Qatari money to go answer to the pockets of Hamas until October 7? You tell me. Make me understand this. It's a functional job. It's a functional duty. Something they are ordered to do. We are Palestinians, we are in deep shit. Oh my God. And to become a Muslim Brotherhood affiliate, there's an oath. You have to swear that you will obey blindly the orders of your Emir. So each group of Muslim Brotherhood has a top leader. They call him Emir. Emir, Prince, Emir. And they have to follow this no matter what he orders, blindly. That's why we see Muslim Brotherhood affiliates, they delete their minds. When it have to do to serve Muslim Brotherhood interests, they delete their minds. They don't use it. They just follow the instruction. That's why in Arabs, we call them the herd. The flock, the herd. They only follow their leaders, no matter what he says. So if he orders to kill someone and says you kill him because he's, for example, there was a very famous writer in Egypt called Faraj Fouda. I'll give you, it's something funny, but not too funny because this guy was killed. But what's funny, what comes after. So this Faraj Fouda was what we call it enlightened, not enlightened, what he was urging to make Islam more open to discussions about Islamic things. So he was calling for reformation. Whether you agree with him or not, but he was calling for reformation in certain issues. And people were, accepting his writings and his speeches. He was not so bad. He was okay. He was a thinker. So they wanted to kill him because he goes against Muslim whatever rituals or instructions or whatever. And he was killed. So they arrested the one who killed Faraj Fouda. And they told him, why did you kill Faraj Fouda? And he says, because he writes bad about Islam. He writes bad about Islam. And they told him, have you read his books? And he said, I am illiterate. I cannot read or write. And this is, I'm telling a true story. So he was ordered to kill Faraj Fouda because he was writing bad things about Islam. Have you read his books? No, because I don't know how to read or write. These people are blindly follow the instructions by their leaders. Blindly. without discussions because they are not allowed to discuss. That's part of the oath. They are not allowed to discuss. So if he says this is right, even it is, if he asks you to steal, and if he says it serves Islam in a certain way, he will steal. And it is still, stealing. But he follows the orders. That's Muslim Brotherhood. And there are a lot of Muslim Brotherhood organizations very active in Europe and America collecting money for Gaza. They say they are collecting money for Gaza. Do not believe this fucking shit. Do not donate to anything that has Islam inside it. Do not donate to any organization that has Islam inside, because this money will never arrive. It goes to other places, but never to Palestine. Never. And I'm not saying that because I hate them. I do hate them. But the money you donate to organizations that has in its name somewhere Islam or Muslim or whatever, this money will never arrive to Palestine. This money, again, will never arrive to Palestine. This money will never arrive to Palestine. Do not donate to any organization that have or that has Muslim or Islam inside it, or anything related to Islam, because this money will never arrive. Sulaf, just a second, I need to smoke. Just a second. Sorry. Bear with me, please. Sorry, I need a break. A cigarette. Just a second. So that's all I have to say about Qatar. That's all I have to say about Al Jazeera. That's all I have to say about Muslim Brotherhood. So, if there is anything you wish to ask, please do ask. If there is not, then I have to finish this live. But truly, I miss you guys. I have not gone live for a long time, very long time. I used to go live like every month once or every 2 months once, but it was not, the situation is too harsh, too difficult. It's devastating. It's very devastating. It's very devastating. But I wanted to talk about that because a lot of you are confused about it. Oh my, Donna, Donna Nasur. Smoking in our situation, it's very good. It's something we have to burn. Suzanne Reith, please document what you say, what you can. We are documenting as much as we can. We are trying to spread awareness and talk as much as we can. We are not always able to. We are almost losing our minds. What's happening is beyond your imagination. What we are facing is beyond your imagination. It kills us from inside. For us, you know, life and death has become equal. It's the same. The blood, the smell of blood is all around. There's no place you go without smelling blood. Homes demolition here in the West Bank, it's, fuck. It's devastating. A lot of homes demolition. A lot of homes demolition. And for us Palestinians, the house is something holy, sacred. And we spend most of our life saving, trying to build a house. And this house is boom. All your life savings are gone in few minutes. We are. It's okay. It's good that I'm still able to focus and talk and argue, and it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Saskia, love to you. Yes, interesting to hear about the Muslim Brotherhood. Guider. Muslim Brotherhood is very powerful in the United States, by the way. They have a lot of money. And they have misleading people when they participate in the protests. Misleading. They are a destructive element in these protests when they take part of it, when they take part in these protests. It's not divisions among Arab nations, Noura. It's not divisions. They have created enough problems for every Arab country. So every Arab country is trying to worry about its internal situations. That's why they are busy fixing their internal situations. And this is not an excuse for them. They have no excuse, what fucking ever, not to help here in Palestine. They have absolutely no excuse. Arabs and Muslims. They are 2 billion. They are 2 fucking billion people with zero influence. Anyways, and when I want to compare my situation here in the West Bank with the situation in Gaza, oh fuck, I'm still in a great place. I still have a ceiling on top of my head, and here I am smoking and drinking tea and thinking about the 2 million people displaced. They are sleeping under the sky. And they watch their children die in front of them of starvation. That's mind-blowing. That's mind-blowing. But the main goal of the Zay occupation entity, and this is something you have to know, their main goal is the West Bank. They want to evict the West Bank from all Palestinians. That's their big prize, not Gaza. They want the West Bank. And they are making on an unprecedented pressure here in the West Bank. You cannot imagine. You cannot even imagine. People are killed in the streets. People are killed in the fields. People are killed everywhere. Homes are being demolished. You have absolutely no freedom of movement at all. No ability to freely move from one place to another. For 5 months, we were locked inside our own communities, locked inside our own villages, our own times. After that, they started sometimes allow us out to reach our jobs and everything, or take very long distances to reach our. For example, I work in Ramallah. Now, I work in Ramallah and Bethlehem. Bethlehem is only 15 minutes from my town. Ramallah, in normal situations, it takes 1 hour and a half, almost. After 7th of October, it takes us the whole day going and coming back to Ramallah, the whole day. We spend sometimes, and when I say sometimes, at least once or twice a week, at military checkpoints, we spend an average of 6 or 7 hours. 6 or 7 hours on a military checkpoint. We have to go very long ways to reach a certain place. Very long arable places, arable roads. Use very harsh roads, long roads, to reach a small distance. For example, Hebron City, Al-Khalil. It's about 10 minutes far from my town, only 10 minutes. It takes us 1 hour now to reach Hebron, which is only 10 minutes in normal situations. That's fucking hell. That's fucking hell. And some people are blaming West Bank for not erupting against the occupation entity using guns. The maximum weapon Palestinians have in the West Bank is a gun. That's the maximum weapon. And the occupation are pushing Palestinians to use these guns. They are practicing the maximum pressures on Palestinians to use this fucking gun. And do you know if we use this fucking gun? I mean, massively. The West Bank will turn into another Gaza. Literally. And this is exactly what they want. They are pushing people in the West Bank to go that far. So they have a free hand to destroy the West Bank, just like Gaza. And I see some comments from our friends in the West, mainly. Why not the West Bank is not doing this or that? Why do you want us to become like Gaza? What have our people in Gaza achieved? Nothing. Other than mass death and destruction. Nothing. And my evidence, the whole world is not able to stop the Holocaust in Gaza. The whole world is not able to pressure the occupation entity to allow food in. That's why this huge attack against the PA. They want Palestinian security who are armed with guns only to fight. And if the PA does that, and the occupation entity, they want the PA to do that. And if they do that, we will have the same fate as in Gaza. Copy, paste. We will be displaced. We will be bombed massively. We will have our children killed in thousands. We will have no food. We will have no water. We will have no fuel, nothing. And waiting for someone to send us something to eat. That will be our dream. Have some food. Is that wise? Is that a wise decision? And I see some fucking Palestinians, they are a minority, living in America or Europe, and attacking us here in the West Bank day and night. Why you are not fighting? Why you are not fighting? Well, bring your fucking family and come live our life. And fight with us. They want us to be displaced. They want us to die in thousands every day. Otherwise, we will not be so patriot if we don't become like people in Gaza. Arab and some Arab and Palestinian motherfuckers living in the West, enjoying their life, making money, living safe, want us to die in thousands every day. We don't mind to die if we can achieve our goal. We don't mind at all. But if the whole world is not able to stop fire on Gaza for 300 days, the Holocaust has been going. For 300 days, they are not able to allow a piece of bread to Gaza or some fuel. Why do you want us to have the same destiny? Why? What's the logic behind that? To make it easier for the occupation to force us out of the West Bank and to devastate the West Bank, to bring us back to the Stone Age. And what's the political achievement out of it? What have we achieved in Gaza out of this huge Holocaust? What political achievement have we made out of Gaza? Tell me one thing. Some Arabs and some Palestinian motherfuckers living in the West, they have brought us dignity. What fucking dignity? Women, they pee in the streets. Is that the dignity that what's happening in Gaza brought? What dignity? Children are dying in front of their parents of starvation. Is that the dignity you are talking about? Families, whole families are sleeping in the street. Is that the dignity you are talking about? What dignity in that? But these people, they are losing nothing to talk. They have nothing to lose. They have lost nothing. And they are not willing to lose. Because all of them have these passports of the countries where they live, and they can all come here to Palestine. But they won't, because they are not willing to pay the price. But they are, sitting on their mobile phones and telling us who's patriot, who's not in Palestine. Okay, this is fighting, this is not fighting, this is patriot, this is not patriot, this is a traitor, this is infidel. If you talk against their will, you will be infidel, you will be a collaborator, they will tell stories about you. They will tell, I'm telling you. A lot of activists in Gaza, living in Gaza, lost their families, activists. And when they say their opinion about what's happening in Gaza, they will be brutally attacked by some Palestinian and Arab activists and Arab people living in the West. They will be brutally attacked. You are a traitor. You are infidel. You are I don't know what. Fuck. He just lost his family. They lost their families, and they are yet attacked if they express their feelings in Gaza. They are brutally attacked on social media by Arabs, by some Arabs, Arab maniacs, by some Palestinian maniacs, calling themselves social media activists, influencers, pure mothers. And they will have some people, they will lie, they will invent a story about, let's say, me, for example, because I'm talking against their will, and show me as a collaborator, or show me as an infidel. You are not a believer in God. This is the tune they are using nowadays. My fucking lighter is not working. Maybe my fucking lighter is a collaborator. It's against me now. It worked. So this is the type of people we have to face every day on social media. And God is expecting this at this certain time. You are very close. Why you are saying that? And if you die, you are a murderer. You are a happy person. You will go to paradise. Well, I am not in a rush to go to paradise. And my children who are 10 years old, they are not in a rush to go to paradise. And those 20,000 children did not ask to go to paradise at this age. And their families, they did not want their children to go to paradise now. They want us to go, but they don't want their children to go to paradise. But they want our children to go to paradise. Palestinians have not stopped fighting for their lives for 100 years. And we choose the way we fight. We choose the way of our struggle. The way that serves better our interests. And in such situation, where the whole world regime is complicit, the whole world regime is complicit against us, is complicit. Our only way to struggle is to stay fast, is to stay on our land. That's our best way now. Our well-ended determination. That's the best way to struggle. Now. And if things change, then Palestinians will consider the right way to fight. But until then, all we have to do is to stay fast on our land and stay on our land. Stay here. Not fasten. And fasten our elimination. Why? Why do they want us to die very soon, very quickly? Why do they want us all to go to paradise very quickly? Why they are in a rush? Why don't they come and go to paradise and their families? We are barely able to eat. Here in the West Bank I'm talking. Barely able to eat. We have huge unemployment. You cannot even imagine it. We are employees and we have not received our full salaries for 4 years before October 7. 4 years. That's our situation. We are barely able to feed our children. Barely. And we have this kind of motherfuckers who are too patriot on their mobile phones, sitting in a coffee shop or in a bar or you know, inside their homes with all types of fruits on the table and having a hubbly bubbly and, you know, drinks in front of them and a cigarette and I don't know what, and writing on, oh, you are a traitor, you should go fight. You don't believe in God and God's will. This is what they write, mostly. That's devastating. That's devastating. Our Arab and Muslim supporters want us to die very quickly because we will go to heaven. And our enemy want us to die quickly because they want our land. So both sides want us to die. What's this fucking shit? What's this hell? Now, I'm not against dying for my cause. I'm not against dying for my cause. But to die and knowing that this goal will be achieved, then, okay, why not? I'll die. That's okay. But we have seen and witnessed a very clear experience in front of our eyes. We are living it every day. Look what's happening in Gaza. Look how many decisions made by international courts. Not one was executed. Not one was enforced. Look how many decisions were made by the International Security Council. In our favor, none was executed. None was enforced. The West will block any solution. And Arabs and Muslims wouldn't do anything about it. We are dying broad daylight. In thousands, in hundreds and thousands every day. We are losing our properties every fucking day. We are losing everything that we have worked all our lives to achieve. We are losing everything. Look at the Palestinian prisoners after October 7. The Palestinian prisoners and the occupation jails after October 7, they are living literally in hell. A part of lack of food. Forget about the food. They are brutally beaten on daily basis. They are dehumanized on daily basis. On daily basis. Every day there's someone dead in the prison. Every day. Out of brutality. Out of brutal torture. Every day. They are living in living hell. They wish to die every day. What's happening to them is barbaric. Barbaric. They have never seen that in their whole lives. No one has ever seen that, except inquisitions in Spain 6 centuries ago. This brutality was only in inquisitions. And now here in the occupation jails. People who were like 80 kilograms weight, they come out of jail 40 kilograms weight. No food. No medical treatment if they need. No nothing. A part of being beaten every fucking day. And Ben Gvir was supervising unleashing dogs at them inside the jail. Unleashing dogs, and this is not propaganda, this is factual, this is very true. He was witnessing and supervising people being tortured in front of his eyes. That is his joy. So this is the current situation in occupied Palestine. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.